Hello everyone, Memory here. We are around 1 month into the league and I think it's a good time to share my Atlas tree now because it has served me well after around 2 to 3 weeks of using it. Now I have spent God knows how many unmaking orbs on tweaking the tree, but after the first week of testing it hasn't changed much since then. And this version of the tree pretty much does exactly what I was expecting it to do fairly accurately, and that is to farm pure currencies. Now, as we all know, most of the Atlas tree are very powerful, so it's kinda hard to go wrong if you just focus on a few things properly and keep farming it. For example, we know that scarabs with essence is a very popular choice. We have the Strongboxes and shrines that goes well with the Atlas crafts and scarabs. And we also have the bossing focused tree that are lucrative as well if you have a fast bossing character. And so my thought process at the start was, since everything are pretty good at the moment, it's very easy for one thing to become very popular and therefore become less profitable, at least for a while. For example, the reason why people like scarabs is because it is used to enable most of the farming strategies. And since this league is all about farming the Atlas, scarabs will probably see a very high demand. And to a certain degree, that did happen, but not as good as we thought it would be, because while the demand is high, the supply is also high, so they both kinda balances out. And then people went for the excavation and heists, because those places become more profitable after essence and scarabs market goes down. The real profit shifts like this from places to place as time goes. So if you farm the right thing at the right time, then it's extra lucrative. However, I don't want to worry about changing my tree all the time, so I decided to mainly focusing on farming currencies. Pure currencies, not divinations cards or splinters to sell for currencies, just pure currencies, because the thing that is always going to be worth 10 chaos is 10 chaos. Anyways, this is what my tree looks like, and let's start with the rare monster passives. This circle gives us additional chance to drop currencies for all rare monsters in the map. And it also duplicates 3 rare monsters in the area, which is also very good. So now we want to have more rare monsters in the map, and the easiest way to do that is to add shrines in it, because shrines are usually guarded by a huge pack of monsters. There are a total of 3 shrine circles and we take all of them. This one at the bottom guarantees a shrine in every map. The one in the middle increases the rarity and quantity of the monsters guarding the shrine. And it also gives us additional shrine effects, which is important for extra loot because it gives us extra chance to get the covetous shrine, which gives us increased quantity and rarity of items found. And lastly, the circle at the top here gives us extra chance to get the covetous shrine as well. Next we have the Harbingers, because Harbingers drop currency shards, which is pretty much pure currencies. This includes exalt shards, which you will see around 1 per map, and mirror shards, which is very rare, but I have found 1 so far, and that alone is a huge payout, enough to make all the Harbinger passives worth the investment. The circle at the top gives us more chance to see Harbinger's bosses, which has a lot higher rarity and quantity drop compared to the normal Harbingers. The middle circle here increases the number of shards drop, and it has a chance to drop the currency as a whole instead of just shards. I've gotten multiple exalt drops from this already, so it's pretty good. And the bottom one here guarantees 1 Harbinger pack per map. Next we take these 2 specific Abyss passives because both of them increases the amount of monsters spawned from the Abyss. This includes rare monsters, which again benefits from the increased currency drop rate from the rare monster passive we took. The other Abyss passives are affecting monsters in the abyssal depth, which doesn't always open and they kinda take a while to do, so I didn't bother with them. And then we have the Searing Exarch and Eater of World passives, because these small passives gives us extra pack size on any influence maps. So as long as you are doing a map with any influences on, it can be Shaper, Elder, Conquerors, and the new bosses, all monster packs in the map will have a total of 40% increase in pack size, which is very significant. Next up we have the Tormented Spirits. This one is one of the less popular one from what I've seen. What it does is it gives a total of 90% increased quantity to monsters that are possessed. which is pretty insane. This makes the Tormented Spirit scarabs very powerful, especially these scarabs are one of the cheaper ones on the market at the moment since it's not popular. Next we have Strongboxes. Originally I had these points on Delirium passives because Delirium also gives us more monsters in the map. But because the sheer number of mobs appears on the screen constantly kills my character from lag and will probably kill my computer eventually, so I then swapped to rituals, but most of the ritual passives are very far from my main Atlas tree. The rituals also takes too long to do for my liking, and the rewards are mediocre as well, so I ended up taking the Strongbox passives, which should be very familiar for most people. I took the currency passive over here because, well, we are farming currencies. And then the map passives here because this is where I get a lot of my sextants from. Pairing this with the sextants passive over here, which gives us extra use of sextants and more chance to drop sextants as well, which means I'm able to self-supply around 70% of my sextants usage. Anyways, back to the Strongbox passives. The operative passive here gives us a lot of scarabs. The temper proof guarantees all strongboxes are rare. And finally, we have the passives that guarantees additional strongbox per map down here. The rest of the passives I spent on shaping the value over here, which gives me 10% to rarity, quantity and pack size if I use the Fortune Favors Brave Crafts on the map device, which I always do. I've also got the 3 quantity and rarity passives in the middle of the circle over here, which is probably the most valuable and versatile small passives on the tree. I also took the small map circle down here so it's easier to sustain tier 16 maps. After all that, I've got 9 points left, which is perfect because they can be placed on whichever boss passives I want depending on which boss I'm doing. I'm either doing Searing Exarch, Eater of Worlds, or Conquerors and Cyrus. The passives needed for each of them are exactly 9 points away from this tree, so I can switch between them depending on which influence I decided to farm. The result of this tree is you can just brainlessly farm any map you want, and it will give you a very stable income. The way this is set up is to have less number of the more time-consuming mechanics like rituals or blights, so that you can go through more number of maps in less amount of time, which allows you to also farm for more big bosses. With my fairly slow character, it takes me around 5 to 7 minutes on average to fully clear the map with lootings and everything. I'm pretty sure most of the mapping focused builds can do it 2 times faster than me. Also, I didn't have to buy any scarabs, sextants, maps or anything like that, so this strategy is very self-sustainable. The only thing I do run short from time to time are the scarabs, and I'm only talking about using the Abyss, Torment, Strongbox and Harbinger scarabs, which are the ones that actually benefits from this tree the most. However, if you only use 1 scarab per map, you'll likely never run out of them. As for the profit per map, doing a white tier 14 and above map without sextants and scarabs gives me around 15 kills on average. Doing a fully juiced up map gives me around 30 kills after subtracting the investments that you had to put in. This is not taking any drops that is worth more than an exalt into account, so realistically you should be getting more than this. And yes, if you compare this with other strategies out there, it doesn't sound too exciting. It's never going to be the most profitable tree and strategy out there because the most profitable thing are the ones that have high demand and low supply, which is always changing. If you know the market well, target farm those items by switching the trees and strategies around will probably net you a lot more income. With that said, the positive of this strategy is that most of the loot you pick up will either be very easy to convert into chaos and exalts, or they are chaos and exalts themselves. This is very good especially for new players, or lazy players like me, because you don't have to spend too much time on thinking and converting your loot into spendable chaos and exalts. Also, you don't have to think about switching your trees around at all because currency are never going to be devalued since they are currencies themselves. This tree also complements the league mechanic very well because it has a lot of increase to quantity and quality to items found on rare mobs, especially if a tormented spirit possesses into one of them. It will make the Arch Nemesis monsters a lot more deadly, but the loots are also fairly rewarding if you can manage them. This tree greatly increases the chance of seeing pure exalt drops from the currency recipes, regardless of which one you use. I've personally picked up at least 20 plus raw exalts so far just from this Atlas tree and the League mechanic combined, especially for the big currency recipe. I've done at the very least 10 of them so far, and only one of them did not drop an exalt. Anyways, that's it for today. Subscribe for extra mirror drop chance. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.